A lot of people think that solar panels are expensive and extremely fragile, but that's not actually the case. Solar panels are a lot more durable than you would think, and it can be a great way to save a lot of money on your utility bills while saving the environment. And Gears and Tech's main headquarters is about to go 100% solar. Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. As you heard, we're going to put solar panels on the roof of this house, which will feed our home with 100% renewable green energy and have a little bit extra to feed back into the grid. Now, most of you know that we purchased a Mustang Mach-E in the summertime. That is a 100% electric car. So obviously the next step would be put solar panels on the roof and charge that car using renewable energy, help save the environment and save a little bit of money for your pocketbook. So today I want to walk you guys through exactly what the install looks like for a solar panel system on this house. Now we are installing a 15 kilowatt solar panel system. It's actually already installed, but I'm going to walk you guys through exactly all of the steps of the install. If at any point you think, gee, you know, I wish I could see this in a little bit more detail, we do have a full 360-degree time-lapse video of the entire install from start to finish. So in this video, I'm going to highlight kind of the main key points of a solar panel system. But you can go and check out that 360 video and check any part of the install that you want, or watch the whole thing in the full time-lapse glory. Now there are install kits that you can buy, solar kits that you can install yourself. And I am an electrician, and technically I should be able to install a solar panel all by myself. And I probably could. But climbing up on that roof, this is actually a pretty easy roof to climb on. But most roofs aren't quite that forgiving. And that's kind of a game for the professionals. It's something that is best left to the professionals. If you are considering a solar panel install and you live in the Calgary, Alberta area, I do have a company that I recommend down in the description below. You can fill out the contact form and somebody will be happy to provide no pressure solar assessment on your home. They'll check the way that the roof faces, they'll see how many panels they can fit and investigate how much energy you actually require to do a 100% solar upgrade just like we did here. That's all unlocked by filling in that form down below. No hassle, no pressure, just fill it out, send it off, and we'll get you guys with a professional who can give you all the information that you need to know. Before we get too far into this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below. If you've seen some of our content already and have not subscribed, we want you to join our community. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's get back to the video. One of the great benefits of going solar is these panels will actually produce 80% of the rated energy for 30 years. Gone are the days of only a 10 to 15 year lifespan on these solar panels. They will last for 30 years and produce at least 80% of the rated energy. That means long after I no longer live in this house or when I've moved on to my final forever resting place, these panels will still be providing electricity to the new occupants of the house here, which is really comforting to know that they're going to last for a long time. It's not going to be unnecessary landfill waste. There's also a nasty rumor going around that the solar panels take so much energy to produce that you would never regain the electricity savings that was wasted producing them as far as environmental impact, and that's just simply not true. In most cases, the panels will have covered off their environmental impact in 1 year or less, but it could be up to 3 years depending on the size of the system that you install and specifically your environment. Now here in Alberta, we have some of the best sunshine available in this side of the world, and so these solar panels are going to produce power for a very long time reliably. Now, as I said, we went with a local company to do our install. That keeps things very, very hassle-free. So you do have to get the county involved or your city involved. You have to get permits. You have to do a full model of how much energy you're going to produce. There are a lot of restrictions and guidelines, and it's very hard to navigate for someone on their own. It is possible, but it's always beneficial to have a company that you can trust to do that. And that's why I recommend that company down below, because they're going to look after you guys. And if you mention Gears and Tech, say Gears and Tech sent you, and they'll make sure that you get some extra smiles and extra top-notch customer service to go along with the already stellar system that they're going to install and put in for you. So let's walk through the actual install. I'm going to take you guys through the actual install from start to finish, and we'll just give you a quick overview of what it all is, and then we'll look at some of what's going on over here once we show the install of the actual solar panel system. So my roof is actually a metal roof. The install is going to be very similar to a roof that has shingles, but because this is a metal roof, we're going to do the actual bolt down of the system a little bit different than a shingled roof. But the first thing we're going to do is just lay out the grid. So we got to show where exactly the panels are expected to go, size it all out, do that whole layout appropriately using a chalk line. Once that's out, the next thing we're going to do is attach these legs. Now, this system goes together a lot like Lego. You just bolt these legs to the roof of the house. They do try to catch them into the studs so that they're extra strong and supported. They have a ton of sealant on the bottom of the leg so that it won't leak when it rains or snow or anything like that. But they also will put some clear adhesive all the way around just to make sure it's extra waterproof. We don't want the roof to leak after all. Once the legs are all bolted down, the next thing we're going to do is attach this rail. Now this rail is actually where everything installs onto. So it's really simple, and it just clips right into these legs and then has easy bolts that just bolt those on. Once that's all in place, you've got the main grid. We're going to actually tie this whole system together with a copper ground wire. That ties down to the ground in the house. So if the house ever is hit by lightning or anything like that, it'll redirect that energy away from the solar panels and away from anything sensitive to lightning and save the house essentially from having any problems. Now let's talk for a minute about the microinverters. Now there's two kinds of systems when it comes to inverters. So there's microinverters and then there's main inverters. We obviously went with the microinverters. Micro means small. Now the main advantage of a microinverter is one inverter has only a few panels tied into it. If there ever was a problem with a panel or there was a problem with one of the inverters, you don't lose your entire grid while you wait for those parts to be replaced. So just that component that failed would come out of service while the rest of the system worked exactly how it did all along with no issues at all. That makes it extremely robust, and it allows it to also scale if you wanted to increase the size of your system. This is, in my opinion, the better system to go with. A lot of the installers, especially locally in my area, wanted to do one big inverter or two giant inverters, and that's just not a great solution in my opinion. I'm not a solar expert, but I have learned a lot through this process. Microinverters is the way that you want to go. When we're looking at the solar panels, on the back of the panel there's two wires. Those connect straight into the microinverter. That takes the DC power from the solar panel and puts it into the inverter. The inverter takes the power from a couple of panels and it converts it into AC power. That AC power goes way up there into a main junction box, which then connects to this gray line that you see kind of coming down the side of my house here. That is our main trunk line. Now our main trunk line, I can show you guys here, comes down here into this panel right here. When we open this guy up, what we're going to see is just a couple of breakers, exactly like you're used to seeing. And you can see it says string 1, string 2, string 3. Now those all connect together, again, up there, and then it all comes down here and ties into these strings. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 feeds coming into this panel here. Now this panel takes it all, it converts it into one, and then it comes down through this line here and into my house where it connects to the main electrical panel in my house. Now, the nice thing about that is it feeds my house first. So as long as there's power on the system, this will power all of the appliances in my house. It'll power the whole house. It'll power the car charger in my garage so that I can charge my car off of green solar energy. And then anything that's left gets sent back out to the utility. And the way it does that is through this right here. Now this is a two-way power meter. What this means is when I'm creating electricity through here, through my solar panel array down to here, anything left over comes up to this panel and then it goes out and along those overhead power lines over to the transformer way over there where it feeds the rest of the neighborhood. And they use that clean green energy to feed all of my neighbors' houses. So all of the extra energy that I create during the daytime gets sold out to the grid, and then my neighbors get it. They benefit from the green energy that I'm creating on the roof of my house. Now the sun goes down, and when the sun goes down, obviously this system's not going to be creating any more electricity, but I still want my lights to work. So in this case, the power is going to come from the grid, across that power line there, down here, in through this meter, so it now spins the other way and it feeds power to my house. Now, because this is a grid tie-in system where the power can feed out and feed back in, I don't need to have any batteries on my system. That is really good. Nobody wants batteries to mess around with or trying to store that energy and all the problems that come with that. So this allows me to just send all the extra power out to the grid when I don't need it, and then I can buy it back when I do need it. And in that way, it makes me 100% green, because during the day I overproduce power, and in the night I just take back what I overproduced, and the utility almost acts like a battery for me. So I don't need to have the batteries. They store the energy for me and they give it back to me later. Now there are a little bit of nuances as far as how the power gets out, how much I get paid for it, how much I pay for it coming back, but overall it is generally a wash to where this is 100% green energy feeding my house. While we were talking about how the energy all connects down here, all of the work up on the roof has been completed. So now the microinverters are all in place, and it's time to start tying the solar panels in. And this process is really simple. It's just a matter of putting one solar panel at a time, tying those two wires into that microinverter, and then clamping them down with special clips to that rail that we already saw installed. Now we'll put the entire array up, and when it's done properly, there will be no cables touching the roof anywhere. It actually can't, according to the code, have any cables or any part of the system touching the roof except for those legs that we saw installed very first. Those microinverters are actually tucked up underneath the panels once they're all installed and finished. And when it's done, if you've done it right, you've got a panel array that looks just like you see here. Now the panels that we got are actually black on black, which is nice because it's less of an eyesore. It just kind of blends in with everything. Now my roof is a low pitch anyway, but some panels still have that metal frame or the silver frame, and it does make it kind of stick out a little bit. And the nice thing that I liked was these are the black on black with black rails and black critter guard. Now, critter guard is something important to talk about, and if you're looking at solar and you are wanting to ask the right questions, definitely ask about critter guard. That's a wire mesh that they install to keep birds from nesting underneath there, any kind of squirrels. I've got tons of squirrels around here, and they would get under there and cause all kinds of havoc. So this critter guard will keep them from getting under there. It'll keep it nice and clean, and it actually completes the install to make it look a little bit better, in my opinion. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, Anton, how do you know if the system's working properly? Well, it actually comes with a special app that syncs to your system, and it reports exactly how all of your arrays are producing power. If there's any that are underproducing, I doubt you'll have any overproducing, or I doubt you'll care about it, but if they're in the shade ever, then you'll find out really quickly where your system can be optimized or what you can do to help improve your system. For now, you have a general overview of what a solar install looks like. Check that 360 time-lapse video that we made, because I think that would be very helpful to someone who has questions about a solar panel install, and you can see it basically live, essentially. If you are interested in taking that extra step, again, link in the description to a contact form that you can fill out, and somebody from the company that I use will contact you to set up a no-hassle solar audit where they will just check if your house is suitable and show you how you can save a ton of money getting an install in Canada, at least. In the United States, there are tons of incentives and grants and stuff to make it more affordable or more attractive, and it really is a great option to reuse some space that's otherwise wasted. If we don't use our roof for anything, why not create some green solar power? More videos on this channel that talk about the pros and cons of going solar, some of the reasons why I decided to go solar, and we'll debunk some of the sales lines that they will tell you to try and convince you to switch to solar, and I'll tell you what's BS and what actually might be true. That's all in different videos. If you like this video, you can find those in the description down below or on this channel. We'd love to see you around to join us in the future.